Monday, September 7th, 2020, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. We're going to look at the outside reversal we had last week in the major stock market indices, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Dow. And we're going to look at what that means and what it could be pointing to. Well, the major thing it could be pointing to is a potential change in direction of the market, i.e. we could see the market start going lower. Fundamentally, of course, we could see the central banks, the Federal Reserve especially, come out and try to stimulate the market again through QE, through more programs. Of course, they will say that they are not stimulating the stock market, even though central banks have pumped since March, not just the Fed, all central banks around the world. They've been pumping $1.4 billion an hour into financial assets. So is it any wonder that the stock markets have gone up? And I think, though, if they come out and stimulate even more the stock market and the financial system, we could go into a hyperinflationary mode. We could see the markets just melt up completely, and the dollar and other fiat currencies drop massively versus precious metals, gold and silver, of course. So let's look at what outside reversal means. I've got Investopedia definition. It says, what is an outside reversal? An outside reversal is a price pattern that indicates a potential change in trend on the price chart. The two-day pattern is observed when the security's high and low prices for the day exceed the high and low of the previous day trending session. Outside reversal is also known either as bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing. And in this case, it's not a two-day thing that I've looked at. It's a weekly one. So let's start with the NASDAQ. It's a engulfing. That means the bar chart for that week where we had the outside week engulfs the previous week. So we had a new high last week. We had a new low. And most interestingly, for the NASDAQ composite, we finished below the previous week's low. So that is potentially a reversal. And it could mean that the rally we've had since March 23rd, the week of March 23rd, could be over in the NASDAQ. So the same thing happened for the Dow, as you can see here. We had an outside week. And the same thing for the S&P, as you can see, reversal engulfing. And as I said, that's usually portends the probability of a change in trend. There are those, of course, who have said that we're back in a bull market because the S&P and the NASDAQ have made new highs. But if you look at the value line, equal weight index, that is nowhere near its highs. That takes into account all the stock issues in North America, and that is nowhere near its highs, as you can see here. So am I saying we're going to see a crash in the stock market right now? Well, the NASDAQ lost 10% last week. We saw Apple drop 20%, Tesla 26%. And another interesting thing about Apple, another point about Apple, and you probably heard this, it took Apple 35 years to reach a market cap of $1 trillion in 2019, right? And since then, its market cap had gone up over 1.2 trillion to around 2.3 trillion. So things were getting a little bit overheated, but we still need to wait and see. Technical analysis, nothing is really certain, but there is a good chance that we've seen a reversal. Another interesting point I would make is that back in 1929, the top in the stock market was in the week of September 2nd. Also in 2000, the NASDAQ topped in the week of August 28th. Friday of that week was September 1st. That's when the NASDAQ topped. I know it had topped previously in March of that year, but we had a rally like we've had this summer back then, and it topped exactly September 1st. And this year, again, the top was September 2nd. So that's historically, that's not a great time of the year to top right in the beginning of September. So as you can see here, in 2000, after that top in the beginning of September, the NASDAQ floundered or went down. It didn't crash massively, but it just kept going lower for the next 2 years, and it bottomed almost at 1,000 back in October of 2002. So could we see another cycle like this where the NASDAQ goes down for the next 2 years? It's possible. I think it will be very important to keep an eye on things over the next couple of weeks. If we're not able to regain the all-time high, we could be in for a long bear market, especially in the NASDAQ, the other indices as well, of course. But I think the NASDAQ, of course, and the few tech stocks have led the way, of course. So yeah, it's Labor Day in the US, but the markets are still trading. The futures market is open. It's 8:44 a.m. London time. So we've got spot gold, 1932. That's down just over $1. Range has been 1927 to 1942. Silver is unchanged at 26.90. Range has been 26.60 to 27.20. The Dow futures down 68. 28,066. It has been below 28,000, but it's rebounded. S&P is down about 19 points at 3,407. The NASDAQ 100 future is down 189 points or 1.6% at 11,437. The FTSE is up 71 points. Which is unusual. I think it's mostly due to the fact that the currency is weaker. Sterling is down 60 pips or 0.5% at 132.19. There's talk that Boris Johnson wants to end negotiations by mid-October with the EU. So that could mean leaving the EU without a deal. That generally has meant weakness for the British pound. The euro is unchanged, 118.42. Dollar is down slightly versus the yen at 106.15. Crude oil is back below 40, which is a very key level going back like a couple of decades, that 40 level. We're at 39.45, down 1%. The Treasury market is closed today, so there's no yields to report. So yeah, keep an eye on the technicals. I think the engulfing outside reversal could be a signal that the markets are ready to change trend. And by that, of course, I mean the market could start moving lower. Of course, the Federal Reserve and the central bankers don't like that because it negates the wealth effect. Even people who don't own stocks, if they see the headlines talking about how the stock market is making all-time highs, they feel more confident. They'll go out and spend a bit more. But if they read headlines about stock market crashes, they don't. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. So I wish all of my viewers in the US a great Labor Day. For the rest of you, I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.